Europe's robot vehicles survive brutal U.S. desert test. 8 robotic vehicles have spent 6 straight days working around the clock in one of the most punishing deserts on Earth, and British soldiers never had to risk their own lives to keep them running. ARX Robotics UK, a defense technology company building autonomous ground vehicles, announced it completed Project Convergence Capstone 6, the U.S. Army's largest experiment in the history of its flagship modernization program, deploying 8 of its GEREON uncrewed ground vehicles alongside British troops at the Army's National Training Center at Fort Irwin, California. Led by the U.S. Army's 4th Infantry Division, the exercise brought together forces from the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand to test more than 100 emerging battlefield technologies under conditions designed to mimic real combat rather than a controlled demonstration. This marked the first time ARX Robotics UK took part in both the combat validation and experimentation portions of the exercise at once, embedding its GEREON vehicles directly with the UK's Experimentation and Trials Group, 11 Brigade, and 3rd Deep Recce Strike Brigade for the full 6-day field exercise. GEREON is a medium-sized uncrewed ground vehicle capable of carrying a maximum payload of up to 500 kilograms, 1,102 pounds, and running for roughly 72 hours on battery power before needing a recharge, a design built to swap between different mission equipment rather than being locked into a single job. Across the exercise, the vehicles ran intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions, electronic warfare tasks aimed at jamming or detecting enemy signals, counter-drone operations, logistics resupply runs, and casualty evacuation scenarios, staying operational 24 hours a day for the entire 6-day period while working directly alongside British soldiers, rather than as standalone test equipment set off to the side. Colonel Jim Howard OBE, commander of the British Army's Experimentation and Trials Group, framed the exercise as a genuine stress test of how the technology holds up outside a controlled environment. It is great to see ARX Robotics being put through its paces in one of the world's most demanding training scenarios, both geographically and under highly technology-contested conditions, across mission sets ranging from reconnaissance and counter-UAS to logistics and casualty evacuation, Howard said. Project Convergence Capstone 6 provides a valuable opportunity to test how the British Army integrates autonomous and uncrewed systems into land operations alongside existing networks and capabilities within a multinational core-level event. This experimentation is central to delivering the Chief of the General Staff's 204040 vision and understanding how autonomous systems can generate greater mass, reach, and operational effect. That reference to a 204,040 vision points to a genuinely significant shift underway inside the British Army rather than a minor internal planning exercise. General Sir Rolly Walker, the Army's most senior officer, has spent recent months pushing a restructuring plan that would see roughly 20% of the Army's combat power come from traditional heavy platforms like tanks, another 40% from reusable autonomous systems such as drones and robots that can survive repeated missions, and the final 40% from cheap, expendable one-way systems like loitering munitions built to be used once and discarded. Walker has told industry leaders directly that no crewed platform should deploy in the future without accompanying uncrewed ground vehicles, describing them as the utility vehicle of the 21st century, a philosophy shaped heavily by lessons drawn from Ukraine's war against Russia, where cheap autonomous systems have repeatedly offset manpower shortages and reduced how often soldiers need to expose themselves to enemy fire. Fort Irwin's terrain gave GEREON a genuine proving ground for that philosophy rather than a friendly test course. The National Training Center sits in California's Mojave Desert, an environment known among American forces for extreme heat, harsh dust, and rugged terrain that has challenged far more established military equipment over the decades, and ARX Robotics UK said its vehicles operated successfully at range across those conditions while staying connected to Allied communications and command networks throughout. Data the GEREON vehicles generated during the exercise fed directly into brigade, division, and corps-level networks, the layered command structure that lets a warfighting unit's commanders at every level see what a single robotic vehicle is picking up on the ground. A technical detail that matters because it demonstrates the platform functioning as a genuine node in a larger allied network rather than an isolated gadget collecting data nobody above it could use. The exercise also tested how GEREON works alongside other companies' equipment, a detail that matters because no single manufacturer builds every sensor a modern battlefield vehicle needs. The vehicles carried L3 Harris Corvus Raven system, which handles electronic warfare and counter-drone detection, alongside MyDefense's Watchdog counter-drone sensors and Overview's PodView system for reconnaissance and targeting, showing that GEREON can serve as a mobile carrier platform for other companies' specialized payloads rather than requiring every capability to be built in-house. ARX Robotics UK also used the exercise to test how it could keep robotic fleets powered during extended operations far from a base, charging GEREON's control system using a Plazon 8mm mobile energy platform and experimenting with how it interacts with the British Army's newly developed hybrid support vehicle, addressing a problem that becomes increasingly urgent as armies field more battery-powered robots that need charging in the field rather than in a garage. David Roberts, CEO of ARX Robotics UK, described the exercise as validation that the company's technology has moved past the demonstration stage. Project Convergence Capstone 6 demonstrated that our systems are ready to operate at scale as part of a wider allied force, rather than as standalone technology, Roberts said. This is an important step in ARX's growing activity in the United States. It showed that our common, software-defined platform can be deployed across multiple missions, integrated rapidly with partner technologies, and connected into allied operational